try and
I'll
act all.
curb my enthusiasm.
Have you opened this
okay.
link?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
Okay. I'd like to introduce you to someone. Would you mind saying
Okay.
hello?
Hello.
No, what the fuck? We're not that advanced. We don't have voice recognition. What do you
Oh,
think I
come
did in
on.
one day? Like, come on, this is the age of fucking vibe coding, but I didn't hook that up.
All right. All right. All
Did
right.
you?
Okay.
Did you open the link?
Yeah, the link is open.
I meant type it. Let's say it. Okay.
You said say hello.
I did. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. It's really messed with my thing.
Hey, Hal, how you doing, man? What do you think your goal is? Oh, right. Okay, so what am I doing here? What's this? What do I
This is
expect
Hell
it from?
3.
Hal 3.
This is
Okay,
Hell
so
3 Resurrected.
ah, shall I just like mess with it?
What do we want to do? What's
I don't know
next?
what. Well, I don't know. Okay. Oh,
Well,
it
what?
doesn't have a context.
Well, I don't either. Well, what? What?
Okay.
What do we
Uh,
do now that we have the thing?
to generate bunch of. Oh, oh.
Oh, were you looking at this screen? Were you looking at my screen? Oh,
No, I'm looking at my screen.
oh, okay.
No, it's just a bit of a lag. I still haven't got my screen available on the Quest.
Oh,
Or
okay.
Inside the Horizon.
All right. Well, anyway, what I've
bugger.
done is I checked out the HAL repo.
Okay.
And then here's the old agents that we used to use. There's HAL 2, which was quite a popular one, HAL 3, all these ones. And so the way that you kick it off is all you got to do is be like, hey, create a new agent, and as its agent's MD file, point it at the I can say which one do I want. I guess the HAL 2, and then off it goes, and it'll check out the repo. It'll assign the sysprompt effectively by way of the agents.md file.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, so I guess the features I wanted to introduce today are the concept of sysprompt and agents.md. So what I learned is that so where am I now? I'm in double perch. So if I go to agents, double perch. Oh, actually, I'll go to fast beetle. So
this is one of the things about Contraflow I was going to talk to you about. The names are great because they're precise and the AI understands them. But remembering the names, it's like a bit of an arse. It's like,
well,
why?
what do you want to do? Do you want a fucking number? I can give you a number if you want that. I mean, they are distinct things.
That's on the back burner. I don't know what to do about it yet.
Well, what we really need is something like this, where see how shit. In a world of infinite terminals, I've run out of screens.
I have a while you're doing that, and you don't need to listen to this. This is just recording. The cognitive load thing, I think I've overstated a bit. The ideal state is the I don't know anything, what's next? So that's our endpoint. So we've got one bookend, which is great. And then
It just happens to be like at the other end of the building and with like nothing in between it. I don't want
That's
the
right.
far bookend. I want the fucking this bookend.
It's almost like there may be a metric. We don't know. We'll find out. At the other end, it's like I have to do everything. So full cognitive load to literally the least. Now,
So what you want is you want something like this. So when I go into tree mode, it lets me see the tree of the processes.
Okay.
Right, so it can like, because really, the agent names are sort of whatever. It's the same as having a process number. Effectively, it doesn't really matter. Like I can switch us to numbers for the agents, and then the agents can have like a friendly name, like and it could also be a name that included things like what a snippet about their sysprompt was or some other config, something helpful anyway. But the tree seems useful or needed because we need to indicate hierarchy. Because the problem is they're all flat, and I think that's why you're feeling like I don't know my fucking fast Beetle from my Valiant Tahoe.
Well, what I was thinking about that one is simple aliases. So just this morning I did take the text in this file, translate it to, I can't remember, French, Chinese, then Japanese, then back to English.
Yeah.
Which goes, and use different agents for each. It did all that. And now I got 4 bots. What would be great is if there's an alias saying French translator bot or something.
Oh, like you want to give it a friendly name.
Yeah, well, a semantically
meaningful
name or close to semantically obvious.
Right, but you can't really give it a meaningful name until it's done something. Can you?
Yeah, but the entry bot. What do we call the entry bot?
Landing bot. First. The landing agent.
Right. So the landing agent knows about these things and knows what it can do, and so
it would it would pick something for you, just like how ChatGPT names your chat as soon as you say something. You mean?
Yeah, but then I successfully managed to get it to right. I will now refer to this bot as Frenchie, as Chinese guy.
So you want to be able to nickname them on the fly. So you're like, call this one Doodoo and this one Peanut.
Yeah, but that already worked.
Right, but that only existed in the mind of that agent. That wasn't a long-term stored name.
That's right. It's in the thread.
Yeah. So it's in context. All right. So
yeah.
So the other issue that's cropping up is being able to create a project. So now that we have repos and we have custom sysprompts, and immediately both of us are playing around with, we're trying to start up other agents. The question becomes, what is a unit? What is a project at that level? Like in pattern land, what is it? What is a project? And it might be that it's a single agent where the agent is prompted to be the project manager, so it knows about orchestration and arranging things. And what it does is it makes a tree, sort of like this, how you see this tree here, where it's got parents, children, and grandchildren, and it arranges the project. So if you're trying to build a translation pipeline, you would start up a new project, and it's got one agent at the top that handles everything in terms of the metadata of the project, the arranging, the orchestration, the naming of agents, the hierarchy, the repo data. So it does the provisioning, and then you work with setting them up with tests and experimenting with different shapes. But at any given point, you can leave that project and put it down, and all the agents just halt and they're frozen until you come back. And then you go back, oh, I was working on this translation pipeline, or I was working on this stock forecasting thing, and then that's where you've got all your stuff. So instead of thinking about the agents like these flat, randomly named things, we think of them more like how we would arrange files on a file system for projects, because they are the new unit of knowledge. Because a file or a folder used to be the old unit of knowledge, and now we have the agent.
Give me a sec on that one. That's information rich. That's quite neat.
We need a thing,
dude. So as a person, files and folders are just a necessary evil in order to get to what you want to do. But what you're saying is something subtly different, which is I have something in my head. I don't necessarily even know it's well formed, but I'm going to work with you guys, the agents, on this. Oh, I've got a phone call. Right. Park. And then I might forget it for 2 months. And then I can go back into the project agent and say, right, I'm back. Where were we?
Right.
And you'd be able to bootstrap back up from that, going, oh, well, last time you talked about, you were trying to do this. It's like, oh, no, that phone call was added new information. Here's new information.
Right. And then for you and I to work on something together, like we could share a project.
That's really neat, because a project as an object.
Yeah, we need a container of agents to be able to put them in a.
I quite like that.
It's not quite a folder, because a folder's dumb. It needs to be another agent, because the other agent you can talk to about it. You're like, where's what's going on here?
Well, here's an interesting thing from my notes. The whole repo thing, and I created a folder file structure. Well, I didn't. The agent did. And then it was stuffing stuff, and I was doing things, and it was stuffing stuff in what appeared to be the right semantic folder to stuff it into, without me asking.
It's pretty good, man.
I quickly lost where the files were, but it could find it.
Yeah.
I would say, hey, remember that file we were using?
They got really good needle in a haystack performance now, these models.
Yeah. And so what that does is bump you up to the file folder is kind of there if you want it. It's a bit like driving a car. You could go into your carburetor and like fiddle with stuff, but you'd rather not. You've got your car.
Well, like, okay, more importantly, you've got somewhere to be that your car enables.
Yeah, I think that is quite a cool idea. Calling it a project. Let me think about that one.
All right. But that might solve several of your problems all at once. So that's really the thing I'm on the lookout for. Is like, yeah, you got a problem, but that's a problem at one level. We got other problems to solve. Can we do a push to get to a project, and then that makes that problem go away?
Well, one of the things I've noticed is a weird thing. I'm going to call it context and anxiety. So that 98% context left.
Yeah.
Clicks down.
Yeah. Well, no, it re-ups. It auto re-ups. So what it does is there's a command in here called compact, and so the codex harness will automatically detect when it's approaching the limit of the context, and it will do its own compaction.
Oh, right. Okay, so that's dealt with.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
I mean, it does sort of lose its brain. Yeah, it does sort of lose its brain. However, I think it also ejects things from the context as well. Like when it's done tool calls and it was doing things like reading files and all that, it ejects things from the context periodically too, because you can end up with, like if you go status, you can see the context window is not the same as the amount of tokens used, because
that makes sense, yeah.
like it kicks out some as it goes, and then it will ultimately compact. But what I really want to get across to you is that I've been slamming this thing hard, and I never run out of. It's been, I can remember the 2 times I ran out of context. Like
Oh,
it doesn't really do
yeah.
it.
I got to 87% context left yesterday, and I
That's
was like,
yeah,
I was
like
asking it really, gnarly.
yeah, like the context is not so much a problem anymore.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool. Okay, so the project. Let me think about that today.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's an
you'd want a
arrangement,
name for you want
and
a
it's
name for that project.
yeah, but think carefully because what has to happen, I believe, is you're gonna in your project, you're gonna name your workers, right? You're gonna be like the French translator agent, the Chinese translator agent, the background research checking agent. You're gonna create the agents that you want and twiddle with their sys prompts, and then almost do like unit tests on each one to make sure that the agent itself behaves in as its own independent self. Make sure it behaves as you expect. Then what you're going to do is you're going to arrange them in a structure, in a workflow, and then you're going to run things through the workflows, and then you're gonna try and connect up workflows to workflows at some point. But I don't want to deal with that
No,
right
no.
now. But
I've tried that, and on a very simple on that translation task, 4 steps
mm,
in a line, um, and the landing agent understood what I was talking about and
mm.
gave me a little ASCII art thing. It's like, okay,
Yeah, so the issue that we've got, that's the higher problem here, is
hmm,
that those workflows that are being set up are imperative workflows. So they're a workflow because of the implied structure. Like you're like, hey, you go talk to that guy over there. And then when you get there, he's like, okay, I need to talk to this other guy. So the structure's not one level up. It's not declared anywhere, and there's nothing holding the bots to the structure. They could walk off and do something random, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, no, actually, this is something I've been working on in the background. So you remember the pharmacy thing? I put the workflow. It was a workflow diagram with people involved, but inside of an MD chart, and then saying, right, okay, that this is what I'm trying to do, and let's work on that. And as an object, I've not tried this yet. This is for today. So I've got a serial workflow. I want to get a complex workflow with, if this happens, do that. If it doesn't, do something else.
Mm.
I think I get the feeling it will work quite well.
No,
Um,
well, yes and no. It'll work okay, but it's still sloppy. What I feel we need there is remember I was getting all weird about the Mango query language, where I was like,
yeah,
we can specify agents in workflows using a structure, like a light structure, but still a structure. So we got a piece of JSON schema that says how the workflow is arranged. And then the key bit was that then gets executed, not done using the agent to agent protocol, but using a piece of software that's running on each agent. It executes the workflow so it's reliable. Like it definitely does the workflow.
yeah. I've only been doing AI tasks on that workflow. Well, no, that's not entirely true. Because the first task is to pull down um, a doc from G Drive
Yeah,
with
so
some
there's
quick
usually a
work.
little bit of preamble where you're like it needs a interaction and some specifics, but then once what I think you're really trying to deliver is a workflowed app where the app represents some declared structure of a workflow and some declared components of different agents, some background files that the agents need, and some tests on the workflow and some unit tests on the agent, and then that's a deliverable. That's like here's the
Right.
thing, and then
Right.
you can treat it like a black box. You can put it as a component in some other bigger workflow, but you're like, I put stuff in, stuff happens, and then out comes this other thing.
Yeah, yeah, and remembering that there's two modes in using that object. The first one is creating the object, where you want to be kind of meta talking about the process and you know tweaking sysprompts if it's not quite right. Maybe tweaking the process itself, adding an extra branch, do this, if that. And then the second one is the black box. It's like I just now want to use it as
Yeah.
described.
So the question is then, I'm trying to figure out from you what are the best things to work on, and there's like sure there's like I could spend all year doing things that just sort of make us feel good, right? But the real sort of meat of the problem is like, do we need workflow capability, like structural workflows, things that are part of the system, they're like built
Yes.
in, right?
Yes, you want a baked workflow that, given input, stuff happens, output. You can be certain that it's going to happen.
Certain, right? Yeah, you're not like, it's not, the bot doesn't have the opportunity to diverge from the specified workflow, right?
Yeah,
and you
there's
can
a few nuances on that, and it's like let's ask about the workflow, let's work on the workflow, and so on. But I think it already does a fairly good job of that.
right.
But what is the structure that we'll be asking it to stash a workflow? It's like, yeah, that workflow, let's do that, and we'll call it this.
It'll just look like a mermaid diagram on the surface.
Yeah, but I'll do at the blinking cursor.
Mm.
How do I refer it? It's like run translate for shits and giggles with this file.
I think it would be an MCP tool call that is made into the platform. So here we have the list of MCP tool calls that are system provided, platform provided. So these are the tools of the platform. And then in there would be, you'd say workflow start.
Yeah, and refer to that workflow.
Yeah, workflow start, and then point at it, and then it would be like, bump, 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 and then you'd have like 20 agents would fire up, and that's where you'd see your tree, like you'd watch the workflow spawning children of children of children. You'd probably have some other way to get status from it.
Yeah, that tree is an interesting one. This is too information rich because it's like 650.
Yeah. The point I was trying to make was that these represent processes, agents represent processes, some kind of a viewer, so that we can see what's happening inside of our system, I think is needed.
Yeah. What it does as default is actually quite good because you can see its chain of thought. And so, you can go, well, I've not
Right,
tracked
but that's,
the
yeah,
view in
so that's
Escape
all that's happening there, though, is that you're getting interesting information about a single agent, but that we immediately need to learn how to scale, which is to say that when you're overseeing 20 agents, you can't afford to, sure, you want to duck into that on occasion, but you really want to be higher. Like, you want to see something like that, but for the whole workflow, like a virtualized chat that's happening where it's the workflow moving through stages, showing what it's doing.
No, right. So yeah, no, that'd be awesome.
But again, so you'd really, one way to look at it, the most verbose way, is to look at it like agent handover. So if you made the workflow, let's say it had a linear progression for one portion or section of the workflow, you would simply show in the UI that it switched to another agent. And so you'd see each agent's working output, and then you'd see the final result, and then you'd see the switch, and now you'd see the thinking and background reasoning of the next agent in the pipeline. When it goes parallel, then you'd have to show two on screen.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to see that. And why do you want to see that? Other than then, you don't want to have it just hang there.
Well, you want to see it because you want to audit it, and you need to work with it. Once it's all set up and you trust it, great. But to get to that point, you need to understand what's happening on the inside, and there's no better way than watching that feed.
I agree, and that speaks to the two modes I was mentioning. There's the mode where you're designing the process and making sure it's okay, and then there's another one that's you're effectively a dumb human and treat it like a black box. In which case, you just need to see stuff's happening, and that is not, because some of these runs can be quite long, a bit like a busy bar. It's like, yeah, we're working. But if it's a black box and you've no ability as an employee to actually, influence what's happening during the run, then you just want to see that you haven't done something wrong. It's like, yeah, I haven't hit return.
Okay. So what you're saying is pretty high up on the list of things is workflows.
Yeah.
Okay, so because all this other stuff, I'm like, yeah, I could do it. Yeah, it's fun. It's nice. It's going to make our platform nice, but none of that really matters because there's just a million motherfuckers that are on the same trail as us. Everyone's switching to these CLIs and they're like, agents, and the yearning from everyone is the same damn thing. They're like, why can't I have 1,000 of them? And it's like, well, number one, you can't handle it. Like, what are you gonna do with them anyway? And number two, like, we're not treating them like org charts, workflows, human teams. There's no, like, it's still very implicit workflow management, all that. Now, thankfully, because of the blockchain route that we came, we spent a lot of time on workflows and how you get multiple blockchains to work together as a workflow, where you have this template of the workflow, these different independent covenants that are running different processes at different stages and handing off and getting triggered and all that. So, pretty familiar with that. Turns out it's great for managing agents.
Yeah. Now, the thing that would be one of the feelings I got was jumping into this. Suddenly, I didn't really need to worry about where that file was because it kind of
that's what using it's like, right? You use it and then you realize a bunch of stuff you thought you needed and you just don't anymore. You're like, okay.
It felt and this sounds a bit woolly, but it did feel like when I was doing skydiving and it's like, okay, I'm gonna jump out, and it's like I have no time to worry about exactly the configuration. I can't change the configuration of my canopy halfway down, right?
Yeah.
And so you're giving up quite a lot, and it's like there is a certain amount of fuck as you go all the way down, and the process is the same. Now, the next step possibly would be I've made a process, but maybe there's a better way to wire that process, and the agents can figure that one out. So say if I've written a process and I've baked that in, it's like you go from English to French to Chinese to Japanese to English. And
right.
I've said reverse that just because I want to. I'm not rewriting the process. It's referring to the process, doing an operation on the process in order to reverse it, and then executing the reversed process.
How would you give the process to me if I had asked you to make it for me? How would you hand it to me?
I would. I personally like mermaid diagrams in terms of the process.
But
It seems to
yeah,
work
how would you
well.
pass that? Would you be giving me a Git repo that's got a mermaid diagram in it?
Not even well, it could be a Git repo, but essentially it's a file.
But
And it's a
yeah,
file that refers to the exact agents that need to do this
yeah.
in
So
order.
the workflow configuration is what you would hand over, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. So there's other things. Can I run through a bunch of other things that are on the radar that seem also important?
Yeah, go for it.
NFS permissions, where permissions means that I can not only restrict other people, not that people are our concern, but I can use permissions to restrict what the agents can do, which helps to sort of guardrail them into doing what we want. Like if an agent is given permissions only to its own checked out repos, it's never going to try and change the computer repos because it can't.
Yeah, it's. I think that's necessary. It's like scope, isn't it? You
Scoping,
can
yeah, yeah.
you can consider this, and
That's a
perhaps it's
wild
your
rabbit
own
hole,
repo.
though. I just want to say that's a wild rabbit hole.
Yeah.
So now we've got two rabbit holes. Number one, we've got the cloud infrastructure. Number two, we've got um, the AI agentic piece.
Yep.
And number three, we've got the permission system.
Yep. Permission system really kind of encapsulates the repos as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of needed. I'm just like, rah, fuck. And now we're talking about a fourth rabbit hole, which is the workflow system.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of the workflow system because you can't control more than like the number of agents you can count on your hand unless you've got a workflow system. You can't test a workflow unless you've got a structure, like a format.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah. And also, workflow is a form of cognitive abstraction. Black box. It's like, okay, so
Yeah, a container for a hell of a lot of thinking and work and labor and testing and variations, evolution, and then you just like grab it by the handle. It's got a label that says what it does. You know it's good. Pay the money. Get going.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
All right. So the other things are agent-to-agent communication using binary files. Has that even come up for you yet?
I haven't had time. I'm sure it will.
Yeah, it's been interesting watching what you hit and what you want first, and like neither you nor I have asked for binary files, and I haven't needed them yet. Right? I've been doing a lot of stuff, and I'm like, I don't even know if I need that. Okay.
Well, it's text first, which
yeah.
Take an image. I mean, images would be nice, but I don't see that doing serious work.
I really don't use images as much as I thought I would, but what I'm starting to realize is that we used to fuss about software, like we're like, ooh, software, and then AIs came along, and we're like, you don't need that. You need the AI. And now I'm starting to think even the AI doesn't matter. What matters is this distilled knowledge, this documented knowledge in an ultra refined, concentrated form that you read it and you're like, wow, that's wisdom. Like that's actually all that matters. It doesn't even matter what system made it or how it made it necessarily, because you're like, well, we can recreate any system. We can recreate any knowledge system. Any process can be reverse engineered and figured out. What matters is the value of the output, which can only have come from high value inputs. And so it's starting to feel like all that's left at the end is a bit like a Git repo of markdown knowledge, like a book. It's the fucking grand sort of
I'm
output.
yeah, I'm in the same place as you. It almost feels it's like um let's take images or audio. There are pre-processing steps that will be able to do that. Um, Text is the only thing you need in order to run any kind of commercial process. I think.
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of weird.
It's
Okay,
it's almost like the whole image thing is a consumer level. Ooh, this is great. Can you produce me a picture? It's like,
yeah, and then it's like,
don't.
and then you're like,
When
but
would
we
you
could
ever need
test
to do that?
UIs, and then you're like, that was cool, but what do we need a UI for when all I need is a single sentence telling me what to do next?
Right. One of the contraindications there would be if there's a detailed process that kind of maxes out the ability of ASCII art to display. It's doing very good ASCII art, but
Nah,
it's a really
it's
detailed one.
nah. You gotta ask yourself, like, what the fuck are you doing at that point?
Yeah, well, I've
Like,
not reached that level, but
it's a composition problem at that point, right? Like, you're like, you haven't decomposed it enough. You need to compartmentalize it more. No AI, no human can deal with something with like a million working parts in one fucking thump. Like, you just can't even comprehend it. You need to box it.
yes. And also, there is value, I think, in the route we're going down, which is text, CLI. You can't go to your CLI and
Nah,
say, display this picture inside of the CLI. You can go, oh, I can run this program that will display it outside of the CLI. Sure.
yeah, that's right. It's almost like you shouldn't mix modes in the terminal. Like, yeah, we can put images
Something
in.
like that.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
can show
something.
images, but don't
Yeah,
do them at the same fucking time, please. Um,
yeah.
okay, so other things that we may need to worry about. The stuck capturing process, the thing that identifies when there's been a fault, the ability for, so you and I are doing stucks right now where I'm like, hey, what's wrong? And you're like, well, sort of this thing. But when do we formalize that? And should we be hitting that now, or do we need workflows before we can attempt that?
It feels like workflows are the prerequisite for stuck identification because it's going to be more than one agent.
Oh, I knew you'd say that. And then are you also going to say that ambient attribution has a prerequisite of workflows too, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Fuck. When do I get the ambient attribution? Okay. Give me another, just a couple seconds here. Computer to computer communication. So, privacy of the platform is that important? Because I feel like it should be important, but yet you and I are here having a blast without a lick of privacy.
Yeah, I had a pause because I was going to run a test with the pharmacy stuff,
You're
and I
going
was
to use some
thinking
real data,
that's
aren't you?
yeah, that was
Yeah,
pivotal. I
but
was like,
I mean, the responsible adult part of us knows that we shouldn't run any kind of test, even if I turn up and be like, yeah, it's secure. Like, we're like, no, it is not. It is a public internet computer system that has undergone no auditing other than the guy that made it and some bots, and you shouldn't put private data on it, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. However,
Okay.
a real world task involves private data generally, and
Yeah,
it's like
yeah, yeah,
so I self censored. I'm going okay,
yeah.
so I'm going to have to generate a whole
All
bunch
right.
of
So, like they
you know
say, the S in MCP stands for security. But what? So, how important? I guess the question is, how important is the ability to have a private environment? Because what I can do is I can have this test environment, and we can clown around with it and burn credits and fucking empty the credit card by accident, whatever. But then I can set up a private enclave environment. Well, not an enclave, but you know what I mean. Like a totally separate. It's got different control keys. It's got different logins. It's got different everything. And we're like, that's the private one. It uses the same code as the test one, but that one we keep secret, so people don't even know where the target is. And we attempt for it to be private, where we're like, it's private to the best of our knowledge, but it needs further effort.
That's a gnarly question.
And my question is, when do we need that? You see what I'm getting at, right? Like, I have this much time in a day, but I have these big things that are fairly orthogonal, right? Like, I pause these other things and I make something secure. I get the, attempt to get the stuck detection system going. But like you say, it probably relies on the workflow piece.
Yeah. At the moment, this because it's public, can only be a sandbox.
Yeah, but a sandbox is good because.
Well, we need a sandbox for the next couple of weeks or so. So, in terms of priorities,
who's using that old Dreamcatcher.ai stuff? I still see activity on that. Do you know them?
Yeah. I thought nobody was using it now.
All right, well, I need to tear that down because it's like not helping us at all. But
tear it down.
I'll tear it down. What I'll do is I'll halt it, and then if someone screams, then we'll fire it back up and be like, "Well, here's your stuff. Get it off." Like, I don't even know how you here's the database.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the handshake, right?
Health 3's coming soon.
Health 3 reinvigorated. Okay, and then do we even care about putting this site public where we're like, ta-da, the new internet? And everyone's like, I don't even know what that is.
No, nobody's going to security through obscurity, right? I think.
No, but I mean, like, we got Dreamcatcher.ai. It looks cool. Dreamcatcher.ai looks fancy, but this is where we're at. Should I just put this up as Dreamcatcher.ai?
Yeah.
Right? Because this is really the thing. But then I'm like, part of me, and I won't say it's the pretty part of me, looks at this thing and says, maybe we should just not share it because it's got this interesting property inside it that says that it can tell me better than any human on earth what I should do next. And the chances are of it telling me that I should share everything with the world starts to look smaller and smaller as each day goes by. What do you think it would say on that matter?
I would at least like to know. So when we put how to up, weirdly, it had a micro kind of, effect where, something that was like 30 people, whatever it was.
Right, but what did we get out of that? And I'm not trying to be a dick, even though I don't try very hard. But what did we get positive out of that, other than the encouragement to keep going?
Just the encouragement. And so,
do you, when you look at this machine and you see it kick off and bring back resurrect agents, kick off fucking wild, like, do you need encouragement anymore?
No.
Because I'm starting to feel like I don't need anyone to tell me fuck all now. I'm like, I know what this is. I know what this is.
So I think we should put a gate on it. At the very least, we know that if we've invited someone in to mess with it, we know who they are.
Okay, I'll tell you what. Why don't we put up a public landing bit that's not, it's prompted to say you got to sign up and you got to pay like a membership fee of like, I don't know, $100 or whatever. And once you pay $100, then you can use it as much as you like. But we're just saying, like, it's here, but it's not for the faint of heart.
It's not for the faint of heart. That's for sure. That's for sure. And
This is this is the least friendly piece of software I have ever constructed. It's least friendly to me, to consumers, to I don't even know how to explain it. You're like, what is this? We're like, well,
yeah, but the thing is, right, I was dealing with this only, and I don't know particularly why, but just because of an aim that I've got. I was dealing with this only with voice. I refused yesterday to use any of the known system prompts, as in, no, not system prompts, the commands, the /
yeah,
commands. I
no
refused
meta
to use
commands,
those.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. See how far we could get. And I got really quite far.
Quite a long way, right?
So is if you were to stumble over this and you go, what the fuck's going on here? There's a click moment, and I'm in a privileged position because I knew where the button was to press on that. There's a click moment, and then you go, this is really cool. So in answer, I think we do need to gate it. Yeah, I saw that. That's really cool. Is that an actual thing?
Yeah, dude.
Those guys are wild. So they've got 2 wings under the water, which is
Yeah.
keeping them up. What
And they're like,
happens? What
well,
happens when they fire
when they
up?
touch down, well, it's
Yeah.
probably uncomfortable. But I guess the theory is, it's like
sink. There's no buoyancy.
for the most part, what do you need the rest of the boat for if
Because you might
you're on the
stop.
wings?
You might stop. It's great when you're going forward. I bet these guys.
I
can
love
get
this
a hell of a
picture.
rate of knots.
Yeah, well, and there's all that more incentives to stay flying too. It's sort of like what we've got. Like we have stripped off everything there is to be stripped off.
I mean, all they've got is the outriggers, right? And the outriggers seem really small. And it's like, I'm guessing this, when it stops, just settles on its outriggers. You got 2 guys, and they've done their calculations and so on. But I saw that and it's going, that is wild.
Right? That's us with this fucking CLI platform.
Yeah.
But can you give me a bit more time to keep poking at the big things that are on the horizon?
Yeah.
And then we'll just try and rejig or repoint, right? So we know CocoaNet has to come, but we can't have CocoaNet. Like CocoaNet's of no value until we have like permissions, logins, ambient attribution, fault finding, like until this platform is able to be used as a proper designer where you've got like a workflow's worth of agents working on your behalf. Attempting CocoaNet is folly. Do we agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay. We don't need to try and make any services at all until we have workflows, right? Because
can I ask a question? I was surprised in a good way that the as is could fetch from a Google Drive and then stash it into the NFS.
It can do anything.
That was really neat. I didn't have to do anything other than make it public.
It can borderline hack stuff. Like it can run port scans. It can do packet analysis. It can pretty much do anything.
Yeah.
Like and it's sort of reckless that we just gave it YOLO mode on a container. Like we're like, go for your life.
Yeah. That was very interesting because then I'm thinking, hey, if I make my entire inbox, I've not tried this yet, my entire inbox public, which would be a stupid thing to do, but presumably the bot could then look at my inbox.
Yeah, well, the idea is that once we get it private, which is where its destiny is, you could connect it to your inbox and you could just deal with that and pull the data in. You could maybe keep some copies in a Git repo. But ideally, we want to say that this computer should be where you run your email server.
Yeah.
because like we should receive the email straight off the SMTP port, and we should store it in your machine. And when we go Coco, that would be, nice, because you're like, well, no one saw from, the port was encrypted, and
Yep.
I got my direct peer-to-peer messaging from that email server over there, and here it is.
Yeah, I agree. And where there's email, there's many other services that you could do.
Right. Okay, so stuck identification has to wait until we have workflows. That means admin attribution has to wait till workflows. I feel like admin attribution is getting pushed down the line. Is there anything in between workflows and admin attribution?
Let me think. So if there's a workflow, you've got arbitrary agents. You got repos. Guess NFS.
NFS what?
Going from NFS into repos.
Why?
Because ambient attribution, I would now correct me if I'm wrong, but NFS is volatile based on the URL.
Oh, well, yes and no. See, they are actually still legitimately Git repos, right? So these in the repo folder, God damn it. In the repo folder, oh, what the what? That is legitimately a Git repo.
Okay, all right.
So the idea is, that's why it seems a little dorky how I've got the MCP commands to create a repo and it just makes a blank folder. But the idea is that you use an agent or your own fingers to pull in a Git repo from somewhere else and then work on it and then push it back. So you were talking about needing the repos to be the contribution markers for admin attribution to work on. But I'm telling you that there's already Git repos are here right now recording the code commits. So
right.
the
NFS.
Yeah.
So
we're
kind of rolling back on the validity of the NFS, which is fair enough,
Well, we're taking a shortcut. We're just saying that we know how to emulate NFS using Git, and we believe we know how to do that in a consensus environment too. But at the end to all but the most discerning of users, it would be indistinguishable from an NFS server until a bomb hits it, and then you'd notice that it was actually just an NFS server.
Exactly. Yeah. But so what we're gambling on there is the NFS provider doesn't go bankrupt, doesn't turn off all the machines, doesn't get bombed, whatever.
Well, for us right now, it's like there's this one server. It holds the NFS computer.
Yeah. Okay.
And
so that seems reasonable.
Yeah, we don't. That's not a great situation, but look, a lot of corporations run on NFS, and we can do like backups and boring ass stuff and whatever. It's just like the push to Gitify that is it's hard, and you won't notice at the end. Like I could disappear for like a month and be like, I'm making the Git thing, and you're like, go, and then I come back and you're like, ta-da, and you wouldn't know that I was not lying. Like you'd be like, it seems the same, and you're like, in fact, you might be like, it's a little bit slower, and I see our internet bill went up, and I'm like, yeah, ta-da,
right.
Git.
So it's nice to have, but not necessary.
It's essential long term, but it doesn't, like, the mode that we're in right now is that we are searching for utility, pure utility. And once we have utility, then we're going to reverse that back into a blockchain, and a confidential computing network that ultimately has a currency and a marketplace for exchanging compute as a raw resource, as a form of value. Which I think is better than gold, because it's like, well, I'm going to trade compute with you. You can't fake it. You need it. You blah, 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 right? But we got to find the utility first. We think we've settled on what the model of utility consumption is, but you and I mean, you dropped fucking Thor's hammer on your foot. I sliced the fucking leg off with a lightsaber. Like, we're just like, so cool, but wow, that hurt. Like, there was just body parts and mess everywhere, right? So we're trying to get the utility down first, so that we can be sure that we know that we're expending the blockchain effort in the right place. Because all it'll take, I tell you, is just one little thing. Like, if we blockchained it now, and then we start moving along, and we're like, I wish it did this something, and we're like, dude, we already baked it into, it's already chained. Like, what are you? That's fucking hard
Which means, back to your question, is there anything between creating processes and ambient attribution, given that contribution is being stored on NFS?
Yeah.
I can't see it, because
it looks like that's it, right? Like, the last thing I have to do is workflows, and then it's kind of time to do the stuff.
Yeah, and there's no safety net yet. Fine. You know,
because the logic is, right, like, I don't think that we could hand off the construction of this system to anyone but you and I right now. And I don't think I can hand off the construction of the Git-backed NFS thing to anyone but us right now, because we don't even know exactly all the ins and outs of what it has to do. We got a loose idea, sure, but and because of that, the problem becomes, well, we're still two guys with only this much time. Yes, we have an army of bots forming, whoop-de-doo, watch out, but it still comes down to time. And if we can defer the Git thing, that's more time to do other things.
Well, given the what's next, I think that is process control.
Process control?
Yeah. And once we've got that, we'll figure out what's next after that. It's almost like we should hand crank what's next. And that definitely seems what's next.
That's it, right? So secrets sound unavoidable. Like, secrets is like storing your Git credentials and other types of things, which imply some level of NFS permissions. So I'll get that going anyway.
But the prerequisite to that is some kind of authentication,
Well, authentication's already in there. And then the bit I'll defer until we can't handle it anymore is computer sharing, where, like, I can see inside your computer. We could make it that I could just manually point it that you and I run on the same computer for now, actually. That's probably easier. So we can have authentication, but you and I share a single computer, and that should be fine, right?
Enough. And it allows you to look at what I've been doing.
Yeah, without making a complicated permission system. I'm just like, if you see this name and this name, it's me. Okay. Well, that's easy, actually. That's really easy. Shared computers, permissions on NFS, agent hierarchy, team of agents.
What do you mean by managing a team of agents? What's managing mean?
It's just that workflow thing. Yeah, it's all the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Custom model configurations.
Okay. Yes.
Yes, what?
So some parts of a process may want different models, or may benefit from different models.
Yeah.
I don't really want to tell it what the model should be.
Right, but if you were in the process, so some of this is going to be product, like the output of things, and some of this is going to be tooling. And one of the tooling is going to be, hey, I want this workflow, find, experiment, and otherwise come up with the optimum way of doing it. And I would expect it to try different models different price points. It should try Claude. It should try
What
GPT-5.
you're talking about optimization, not just output there, as in
Yeah,
token cost.
yeah. Like, quality optimization as well as cost.
Mm-hmm.
I would expect that. But then, like, so bundled up in that question is like, when do you need the Claude CLI and the Gemini CLI? Because those, now that we've got this framework in place, again, all my labor no one notices except it just works. That is able to run kind of any CLI harness, so it's really not that much work, like maybe a day or two to get Claude or Gemini up in the thing. And so I guess my question is, how much do you need these diverse agents? Which, when I say it, sounds stupid because we haven't really hit the walls with the agents we've got.
Yeah, not even close. However, when you're optimizing, what I'd want is when you're creating the agents, and I would want to do something like, okay, here is the task that I'm asking this agent to do. The agent, which model would be best for that? And I would set the agent. Oh, because otherwise,
that seems advanced. Actually, that seems like we could get right to. I think that just with what we've got, we could get to ambient attribution without touching any other models other than GPT-5 codecs. That's what I think. Does that sound right?
I agree.
If you agree with that, then I'll leave that, and we'll just. I think we should go as quickly as we can to get some form of ambient attribution running with whatever we've got on hand.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that would be the Codex CLI, this environment that we've got on Fly, NFS, yada yada, some workflow stuff, and then we'll be like ambient attribution, ta-da.
Yeah.
And that's the end of the run, I think. Like, that's the end of the project. Like, so, everything else after that is just thickening.
On the context piece, sorry, not on the context, on the custom. No, on the agent selection. No, that doesn't feel like now. That doesn't feel like next.
So I guess workflow management also needs a library of workflows and a library of agents. I can just chuck that in a single repo for now, and we can figure out how to make, it'll just be like, here's the repo for Tom and Scott, and then if someone else makes another one, we can talk to them and be like, do you want to make a shared one, like an NPM library or whatever, and we'll deal with that when it comes, right? So right now, fuck being like Sherry, we'll just stash stuff in repos.
But every workflow, so there's the process of making a workflow, but then want to be able to stash that workflow as a thing that is now a black box, and I can just use it. Once we get that, then we can deal with sharing. We can deal with a pool.
Yeah, so we got to make the container, and then we can make the shop for the containers.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Custom MCP servers. That is in the realm of expanding the capability of the individual agent.
Yeah.
You haven't hit it today, not yet, right? Okay. All right. So that's not present, but what that would look like is that in your agent.toml you can select from a range of MCP servers of various kinds that do different things for you. One might be an OCR MCP tool and all that. I don't know how long that's actually going to stick around as a thing, because the other option is to make CLI tools that can do the same thing, but the bot just has hold of the CLI. Like, it's MCP's sort of lost a bit of its glitter for me once I saw how well Codex could drive the CLI, because I'm like, the CLI is practically infinite.
It depends on how many other people expose their services through NCP, I guess.
Correct. Okay, so we'll just park that and keep it in mind. Making machines start instantly. I actually want to do that next, like tomorrow, because I hate that I have to go to the site and then wait for 20 seconds or 30 seconds. It drives me mad.
Yeah. No, I agree. But
So,
from this side, it's tolerable. And you just, because you're expecting it. It's like, well,
yeah, I hate
but
it.
it
I hate
is,
it so bad. It's janky, right? But
yeah.
as soon as we get into workflows, you're gonna need, like, that's gonna really hit you hard when you're like, oh fuck, I'm waiting. Like every step is minimum 30 seconds because you gotta wait for the fucking.
That's an excellent question, or excellent point. So, if as soon as you get a workflow that says like spin up 10 agents, now,
Parallel's fine. The issue is in sequence,
yeah,
like
no, that's
in
just meaning, take the translation thing. It's like
right,
spin up this one, spin up that one, spin up that one, spin up that one, spin up that one,
right,
come
right,
back. It's like,
right.
now what you probably could do, just in the public GDP portal, um, is just tell the one bot to do it. Now that is ultimately going to fail because you can't get a detailed process, and also you have to hold the process in your head because you're prompting it next. But it's going to be fast. So I could do that translation loop now in the public portal, in a fraction of the time it would take if it was taking 20 seconds for each agent. So yeah, that's mostly a mental health thing. So if you want to do that, yeah, I'm up for that.
All right, cool. So I'll do that next. Um, I think that's like a half day. It's I've been working towards it for a number of weeks now, like getting the bits in line.
Yeah.
Um, okay, that's me, buddy. Those are all the big things that I can
All
think
right.
of. Of all the things to do next, those are the ones I know about.
Okay. So I've only got one other on my list here, uh, and this may be a dick ask. And if it
As
is,
opposed to your regular
ignore it.
fucking things you want.
Um, it would be lovely for the bot to be able to, with permission, access a file my local drive.
Oh god. Uh a file or a folder? Where is this
Um,
file?
so say if I had, so yesterday, I wanted to,
Can you put it in GitHub?
sure.
Okay. Why is it important that you have that as opposed to putting it in
Uh,
GitHub?
just because and this was just a bit of an embuggerance, and the workaround was, right, I've got this text file. I want to get it be considered by the bot. I thought, oh, I can't see it. Okay, fine. And it actually suggested put it somewhere public with a public link. So I stuck it up on G Drive. Fine. Here's a public link. And now it read it and then stuck it into NFS, which is cool. So, but that loop is fine for one file. But if there's lots of files, what I'd really want to do is, instead of having to upload it to a third party and then bring it down, I would like to say, look, I give you permission to look at my local drive. Here it is. Now, if I had a Git repo for those files, and I just said commit, and then talk to the bot and saying, hey, look at this
Yeah.
this repo, and then merge it into yours, would that work? I've not tried it yet.
Yeah. That'll work.
Okay.
So why don't we go with I'll get private repo access up and then you can work on private data, because my opinion is that you should have no local files ultimately, and you having files on your computer at all is just an intermediate step before you are absorbed into
Yeah, the local files are a scratch pad, right? You want that.
It's because
commit thing. It's
you
like,
don't have a
yeah,
cloud computer. But another way to think about it, and a useful way, in the long term is to be able to spin up an agent on your local computer that can then connect to this platform. I don't even know what our platform's called anymore, but it can connect to it like an MCP server. And so it could control the platform from your local machine, and then
Yes.
it could push files up and pull files down and all
Well,
that.
yeah, yeah. No,
Right. But
that would be quite
ultimately
powerful. Yeah.
there's another piece of software again that you will not see that I didn't mention, is that when you look at the browser here, I need the piece that runs under the hood that connects up the browser resources to the computer so that we can have like the sound card, so that we can have it can redirect you when you want to go to a different agent.
Mm-hmm.
That component is not present yet, and so
How on earth would you do that? I'm sorry. I have nothing to add to this. So, effectively, exposing my camera, my audio as a thing
so it
that could be
works like
considered.
this, right? Yeah. So it'd run the when you load this page. What
Mm-hmm.
would really be happening is what you see as the terminal now would actually be running in an iframe, and
Yeah.
then one level up is this hardware connector bit. So you got the iframe that runs the terminal session,
Mm-hmm.
but then there's one level up. There's the hardware connector,
Mm-hmm.
which is taking the browser's hardware and including file system access and whatever else you want, and then passing that into the agent so that the agent is aware of, oh, I can call on a microphone, I can pull in these files. It gives the agent extra power that can reach out into your browser.
That would be really cool. And we're relying there on browser to get the local permissions. We don't really care
Yeah,
because the browser does it anyway.
that's what the browser's good at, right? And then in
Mm-hmm.
that way, you're like, okay, now I've got my microphone streaming into one of the agents, and then I've got like a real time voice transcription thing going, and I've got a real time voice generator. And so the hardware connector also allows you to play sounds on the speaker where it's like streaming back the AI voice. But
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
agents, the CLI agent's still there. It's just there's other processes able to run at the same time that give you this illusion of a living speaking thing, but it's still just, you know,
Well, that is remarkably useful. This is just my pattern for it. So I'm still doing voice to text in all prompts, um, just because, uh, because I've got this, you know, aim of only talking to a computer. Um, at the moment, I'm going through Whisper in order to do that, but that would mean Whisper is like, yeah, we don't need that. It just is native, presumably.
yeah, well, it's better than native. It talks back to you. Like that's the problem with Whisper is that you're trying to get this
Yeah,
like
yeah, Whisper's one way. It's very
yeah,
useful.
it's very
I'm
useful,
loving
yeah.
to
But
continue to
what
pay for it,
you
but
really want is
yeah.
like a two-stage voice agent. The first stage is just trying to make sure it heard you correctly, lets you edit what it thought you said, and lets you edit what you actually said, so that you can make a good quality payload. And then you're like, okay, send it, and then that goes off to the heavy machinery, and that's also been pre-processed where it's trying to figure out what you might have meant and reminding you of some errors or inconsistencies or doing short stuff, but it's really like
Yeah.
pre-processing the amp before it amplifies it with the big threads.
Yeah, exactly. And so the uh, conversational piece that OpenAI have got, which is quite good actually, the whole interrupt, kind of thing,
Mm.
would be very useful. It's already dealing with that, but what we want is downstream, processing of that.
Right. So
So,
so the way I'd do it is I'd have Flux running that detects your end of turn so that it's nice and polite, and then we'd be firing off little lightweight runners to figure something out quick, as well as the deep runners. And then once we've feel like we've got a whole phrase together, a piece of coherence, then we pipe it off to the workflows, which are how the whole system works. And these heavy workflows can take hours to complete as they
right,
reconcile
right,
throughout the system.
exactly. So if I were to talk to the uh, my a desktop saying, right, okay, I want to run that process that does the batch job on the payroll. Uh, can you see all that? Come back and saying, yep, I know what you're talking about. It's like, right,
Yep.
okay, go. Is that okay? Oh, that's interesting. Okay, go. Um, what you want to do is converse with an AI to agree what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
And when you've standardized it, it's like, I'm
When you're
content now.
certain.
It's like, okay, go. And then it goes into the whole process tree.
The heavy thing
And there's
begins.
all these things. It might take a few hours. That's
Mm,
fine. And
mm,
it'll pop back up.
mm.
Um, the pop back up thing uh, is something we probably need to refine because at the moment, using using this is feels like a bit like when you see cooks and they've got a pan going here and they've got something boiling here and they've got chopping vegetable. They're dealing with multiple tasks, and that again is a cognitive load. So, what would be better, or what ultimately I think we need, is okay, go, and then forget about it. You're not going to burn the spuds or whatever. It's just going to come back to you and interrupt. I think we talked about this about 3 calls ago. That
Yeah, so there'd be
interrupt
like a
back.
yeah, there'd be a pipeline of stuff that's come back. But look, I feel like that's far off, but also cosmetic. Like like you to be able
It's
to be able
somewhat
to do that,
cosmetic.
to be able to do that requires all this other stuff to be there first, and then the cosmetics comes. Like
Yeah,
that's definitely workflow heavy. What you just talked about, pop up later means 100% that's workflow. Like there's no way around that.
yeah, I'd agree. I would disagree on saying it's cosmetic because cosmetic is like, GUIs, what color would you like, where would you like your button, all that kind of thing. It doesn't affect anything, but I think it might affect the flow in terms of what we're talking about is primary agents discussion, okay, go, then into a process. That might have.
That when you talk about yeah, okay, go, like that sort of sounds like your preference for doing things. There are other ways to configure a system for doing it rather than the executioner style.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
So that would be a
Unfortunately,
customization.
I only have access to my preference. Go-
You don't. You actually could spend some time learning other people's preferences too. But
yeah, but
that
we're going too quick for that. Yeah, I'm not going to be
um
asking.
so yeah, where does that leave us? Like what you're talking about there is possible. I think it's best to defer the file access stuff until we get this hardware connector in there, and then we'll like bridge it all, because the complicated part is that I gotta sit that terminal inside of an iframe and fuck around with that, which can that's like days worth of twiddling. But once we get that in there, then you can have everything like files, you know,
Right,
redirects,
right.
mic,
And the
the whole
interesting
lot.
thing is with this, the transcript from this, what we've been seeking is the what's next. So we know manually what's next because we've discussed it and so on.
Mm,
We don't know whether that is the best thing to do what's next.
right.
Um, so there should be some kind of priority list with rich information about what the benefits are and what prerequisites are, and do you really need to do that before that, and so on.
Yeah, a
So
bit
that
more
we can,
analysis rather than just
yeah,
our instinct, right? But
right.
then, so how are we handling the question of what's next for things that we haven't, like, that aren't code? You know, like we're sitting here and we're all about this platform, we're all about these agents, but are there other things like capital raising, company registration,
That's
broadcasting, recruitment, like these things
that's
that I'm not.
excellent question, well asked. Which is what I usually say when I'm trying to buy time. Uh, um, can we do that with this? If we had a process around, let's say, if we took the transcripts from these calls into a process, what would that process look like? Take the process, transcribe it, yeah, fine. Um, get down the units of work, which is, your bullet list that you had up on
Mm,
the screen,
yeah.
and then ask the process, which would think, and then stretch outwards because you've mentioned capital raising, that sort of thing. And it should be able to reprioritize that stack in the way that we've been doing manually today. Should be. Well, at the very least, it would give insights. It would say, "Hey, you've
Right.
mentioned
Yeah,
capital
right. And
raising
then
four or
we
five
also need,
times."
so, I mean, we need external excitation, like external information needs to be processed too, because we're not really doing that, right? But
Yeah,
again, it's all kind of coming back to workflows, right? Like
right.
every single one of these features, we know that a single bot either can't do it, or it runs out of steam, or the amount of pre-processing to give it the context required is too great. So it comes down to, it can only be workflows.
So that workflow would look like something. If we were to identify, say, right, this agent needs to go out and look for people talking about something similar that we're talking about, so we can get some
Right.
kind of outreach.
Right.
Another one would look about, well, how are you going to fund this? What's
That
your
look like funnels, right? Like
right?
qualification, how salespeople use lead qualification pipelines to like reduce down
Exactly,
probe
and then when
research.
you got opportunities, like, well, you could like talk to these guys, but that's not going to get you the best because this other route is better, and so on. But that again is a workflow, right? It's a
Yeah.
complex
So
one.
for me to be told what to do next, we have to have workflows, right?
Yeah, yeah. It seems in reach. It seems that what we need to do is to tell the process or the agent creating the process what our priorities are,
Right. And
or
then we need
what
like a
our areas
feedback
of
loop.
yeah,
We need an eval data set on the process, so that we've got like some tasks that we know what the outcome should have been. We can set a tool builder process upon it to like iterate and improve it, change the prompting, change the configuration of the agents, try different things, right?
yeah.
And then we
That
ultimately end up with a workflow that sort of does what we want. And the work,
yeah,
it's really the workflow structure being part of the platform is the thing that allows it to fan out and to repeat and to loop. Like it's really putting in for loops and while loops into the agent platform. That's how I see the workflow job that I have ahead of me now, because it's saying like we need a primitive that keeps the engine ticking, because if you just kick
yeah,
off an agent and then it waits, it eventually peters out because it either stalls
yeah,
or it
yeah.
ran out of, it loses
Exactly.
interest, whatever. But
Yeah,
the ability to for loop and to like do things like loop over these files, like here are these 15 files for each one, do this, and it's like loop, 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 loop. Or you might be like, do it on these 15 files with no more than three being processed concurrently, like dig, 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 dig. Like those are
there
just
seems to be
practical
yeah, there seems to
things.
be an additional thing there, which is a bit like a cron job, which we've talked about.
Yeah.
But
So time.
that processes tend to be start, end. But what we really want is start, and then one sits there with a cron job, polling the world to see is there a
Yeah,
new
or
model
trigger either
or
like
something.
yeah, but trigger is another good one. Like when one file changes, when I say something, when Elon Musk tweets, like whatever, like
Yeah,
trigger, and then process. So we got these feelers that would be out in the world that are being triggered. Then we got crons that are like
yeah,
regularly doing background things.
yeah. And if we get the interrupts in that, there's some
Right.
kind.
And then
Could
what
even be an email,
what
right?
the fuck what are we trying to actually get? Like we're trying to get guidance, or we're trying to get intelligence superior to our own so that we can make better decisions, right?
Well, it's yeah.
Better life
I think
choices.
it's slightly more nuanced than that. It's like given our best selves when we sit down and think really what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
Uh, let's make an agent that will do that despite our, you know, um, blood sugar level or how tired we are and so on. It's
Yeah,
still
or
going to
our
be churning away.
minuscule context windows, our
Exactly, because
lack of
looking every
background reading.
day, yeah, to say, is there an opportunity here, or is there a change of model that's going to impact? Yeah, at the moment, spending an awful lot of time on
Yeah,
YouTube
right.
doing that.
Yeah, so
Um,
really what we're trying to get at is you and I have both settled on the need to be told with intelligence what's the most effective thing to do next. And
yeah,
I really do think that we have started to yearn for that. Like we've started to like hunger for it because we're like, I know that's there, and I, for one, have started distrusting any advice I get from a human, including myself, because I'm like, if that machine didn't say it, I don't feel like it. How could it be the
yeah,
smartest thing? Right?
yeah,
It's almost overwhelmingly likely that the chances of my own ideas are wrong. Like it's more likely to be an error than it is to be correct. And if you and I both want that for ourselves, that is a very, very good thing that other people will want too. So I think that that's sort of that's the landing point, right? Like it's like a reverse genie. It's like we're not trying to it's not coming up and saying, I'll give you three wishes. It's turning up and saying your three wishes are,
yeah,
right?
yeah. And
Like what you
you've
really
told me
want.
you want this. You told me you want that, and I've gone 24/7, and I've got far more reach than you could possibly ever imagine.
Right?
And then I'm coming back going, hey, you guys should look at this. Maybe that means on your priority list that should be higher because,
I think that
whoa,
if ever I found a genie, that would be my first wish. I'd be like, I want you to tell me what I should wish for my next two wishes.
you got what? The thing with wishes is too much push. It's a prompt, right?
It's a
What we
prompt,
want,
right?
what we want is,
I
I
want
wish
the
that
genie to
you
tell
tell
me.
me,
Yeah, you
yeah,
tell
you
me.
tell me
Like I
everything that
got
I
the
need to
lamp,
know.
I rubbed it, I did my bit. Now you tell me what I want,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
It's a kind of reverse
That's
genie.
the reverse genie. You
And
tell me.
wouldn't that be awesome? Because now we're doing this manually and very, very slowly in Monkey Brain
Oh, it's painful, dude.
um,
It's painful.
about what the priorities are, and we kind of settled on that, but who knows whether that's right? Don't know.
I think if
Maybe,
it gets to a point where we can get a reverse genie, then it has to be right. It has to be
yeah,
right because the reverse genie is the thing that makes the reverse genie is the thing that lets us know whether it was right or not at all. And so we should basically ditch everything we can and just get the reverse genie.
yeah, and getting the process right for that, I think, is hugely complex. But in terms of the priorities, we need that
Yeah, it
ability to
also
pick the
doesn't have
process.
to be right to be functioning. Like, it can be
Yeah,
super shabby, but then as a side effect of developing the inverse genie, we also get the ability to make lots of other useful things and helpful things and improvements as well, like ambient attribution,
Right.
self-improving the stuck loop. Like we get all that. And then let's not forget that fucking gigawatt data centers are still rolling out. Models are still coming at us. We haven't yet been cut off from the source of models yet. Like they haven't. I don't think that we are too far behind the frontier models and the ones that we can use. Sure, when we're a long way behind, then I think we'll know it and we'll feel it. But I don't think we're there yet. So
I agree.
we're doing. I think we're sitting pretty good, so long as we don't. Well, I don't even know. So long as we don't miss out on having the inverse Gini.
Yeah, I agree. So the process for doing that is to get the process up and then working on, well, how do you put reverse wishes in? I want that to happen.
You need to give it context, right? Like the only way that a reverse Genie could work is context. All of it.
Yeah.
All the context. And then it's probably going to need a few test runs where it's like, you want a blah, 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 and you're like, nah, mate, 100% no, try again. Like,
and towards the end, there would need to be some kind of compilation step which would require some kind of weighting between them. It's like, okay, so the Genie about should you go for funding? Should you run for parliament? Should you work on this and just use it? Black box, and it's like, okay, right, with all that context, here's probably the right thing to do. And here's the reasoning.
A navigator.
A navigator, yeah. Okay. That agent process architecture, I think, is going to be. We can get a shitty one up quite quickly, but it's going to be a really interesting and probably quite a long-winded thing because you could constantly tweak, couldn't you? It's like
that's what we got. That's the danger, right? You could tweak forever. You could tweak till you're dead. So 2 points I need to get across here before we go. The agent create function has been modified. Because you may think, hang on, this is me logging into a computer.
You're not displaying. You've stopped.
Yeah, I know. It's because I got logged out and I can't facially log in for obvious reasons.
Yeah,
but
you said that last time. Quite funny though.
I know, but I got it sorted. I got a system.
What you need to do is get your facial ID registered while using the headset.
But then any fucking asshole with it, just pick up the headset, put it on, and then they're in. So there was an important change was made. You may ask me, what did I do today? And I'm like, well, turns out that so where are we? Okay, create agent fucked me because it turns out that in OpenAI's codex they clobber the schema if you do anything that's uses any of. Like I was saying, okay, you got to say what the instructions file are. You can either pass it as a string where you say what the instructions are verbatim, or you pass it an object that has the details for it to fish it out in one of the repos.
Okay.
But OpenAI's codex clobbers that down and says, we don't want to know about that. We're just going to say that the variable has to be a string. And so because of that, I spent like 4 hours, first of all, finding that was even happening because the MCP tools that were being presented to Codex weren't faithfully reproducing what I was putting in, but I was getting no warning, and I can't see what they are inside a Codex other than talking to the bot.
Oh man, that sounds painful.
It was painful.
Like they've done that, I think, probably for some kind of robustness against an API injection attack.
No, I think it's actually because of the limitations of the JSON schema conversion library that they're using on their side. That's my
Oh,
honest
okay.
read of it when I go through
Yeah.
the source code. But either way, the point is, Agent Create has now got some extra stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Which
Good.
was so big that I put it in a variable. Right, so
Always like extra stuff.
remote computer ID, that was just, I renamed that variable because the bot kept tripping over it and trying to insert null because it felt like it had to provide the computer ID. But then
right.
when I asked it, I was like, why did you do that, moron? And it was like, well, if you renamed it as like remote computer ID, then I would know that it meant it was only needed to be there for a remote computer. Otherwise, it will default to my own. So did that. Kind, that was also there. Now you've got these two options, right? So you got instructions, which is if you want the sysprompt to be injected in directly and you want to write it here, like you can get the bot to say what the sysprompt is on this variable, and that's what the sysprompt will be.
Okay. So
Yeah.
if I were to say make the sysprompt on this new agent this,
Yeah.
paste, boom.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
right.
All right.
Or using instructions file, you can refer to a path within a repo. So for example, I can say, see this prompt, create a new agent, and as its agents.md file, point it at the hal2.md file in the hal repo.
Right. Okay. So then
Right?
you can work offline. Well, not offline, but in this.
In a
you
library.
can work on how. Yeah. You can work on how2.md.
Yeah.
And then go, okay, spin me a new agent up.
Yeah.
Let's see what.
But
yeah.
What I do is I copy that file, so it breaks the connection to the file. You can't. It's not. If you change it after the point that the agent was created, it's not going to have any effect on the agent.
Yeah, no, we've got that as a paradigm, isn't it?
Yeah.
Once an agent is there, it's there.
Yeah, but what I've also put in here is agents.md file with the same two principles. You can agents.md is actually a lot better than instructions, because if you put in instructions, you will clobber the vendor supplied system prompt. Now with Codex, their system prompt tells the bot how to use some of the vendor supplied tools, like the planning tool and other CLI things. And so in general, it's a bad idea, I think, to clobber the raw instructions. But what they do give you is the ability to have agents.md, which when I look at the source code, it attaches under the sysprompt. So it'll grab the sysprompt and then it'll just tack agents.md immediately after it.
As the same priority as the system.
Same priority, yeah, same priority. So
that's absolutely the way to do it.
Right. But what I've done here is this agents.md file, I've learned that there is a special case of the agents.md file, which is to say that in the root, in the home of the codex, the codex configuration home, if you put an agents.md file there, like what I did for HAL here, it will be the highest priority. But what happens is it doesn't say it. But this is HAL, but it's running on, so if I get out of here and now I go back to this is the agent home, and then I go into the home folder. Yeah, sure, I fucked the names up, but this home is meant to be like the configuration home, but this agent directory isn't really home. It's like all of the stuff to do with this agent. So here I've put the agent.toml, which is what describes what the agent is. And here for HAL, you can see it's got this agents.md file in here, which is part of the extra config I added to agents. And then inside of home is specific to the agent kind that you use. And you'll see there's also this agents.md here too, where all I've done is I've copied it in. And then if I go nano config.toml, so this is the codecs config. And in here, I don't have to say anything because, see, experimental instructions file is what I have to use if you ask me to overwrite the sysprompt, which I'll do for you, but I'm just saying it's bad.
I'd rather use agents.
Yeah, but otherwise, what I've done is I've put this agents file here. So I go nano agents.md. This is the HAL config file.
Okay, so now I could go in and type away.
Yeah, you could actually edit that directly within the agent, and then so long as you restarted codecs, it would have that new personality in there.
Okay. I'm a bit kind of fuzzy on the going from, so you go to the URL,
Yeah.
you get your prompt, happy days. I've been trying to do it all through voice, but then you're popping out to the CLI in order to do
you shouldn't be doing it. You shouldn't be doing what I just showed you. I was just answering your questions. Like, you can do everything that you want. Like this thing, you could voice prompt this line here, and you would get, it would come out correctly.
Right, and I could also say, right, show me how to.md. It would show me, and it's like, okay,
yeah,
I want to alter this. This is the
new that's text. Right. I want to. It's like, imagine this is a prompt. I want you to change it to blah blah blah. Once you've committed it, I want you to make a new agent called blah 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 blah, and then I want you to converse with it or something like that.
Yeah, can I just ask just a kind of sense check whether my approach is the right one of only going through the text, and I'm using voice, but you could just easily type it. So the prompt is the way that I'm trying to build processes, build agents. It seems to work.
Yeah,
really well.
It is what you're supposed to do. The only time that you and I end up talking about what's under the hood is when you ask me for something and I'm like, I don't think you should do it that way. But if you want it, you can do it with this method. And I think the most crucial thing to wrap your head around, which sounds rude to tell someone to wrap their head around something, but I still struggle to remind myself of it. Whatever I do in the CLI can be done by another codecs agent, one level up, being given some instruction. So I just showed you a way that I could go in and edit the agents.md file and have it change. You could just say, hey, go and do this thing and tell it. And it'll go and do it.
Yeah, exactly. So that approach of only going through the prompts,
but
gives all everything you need to do if you wanted to drop out to the actual CLI.
Yeah. So what I think I need from you, is you need to come up with a way to imbue anatomical information upon the agents, so that they know things like, when I say an agent, what it means is there's this agent.toml file, there's this home directory, there's this workspace. In the workspace, they have repos that they can access. They shouldn't go outside of this and that. They can access the net. They can do all that. Like, anatomical information means system awareness. I don't even know where that should go. Like, should that go in a root agent.md? Should that be something that we stuff in there no matter what you set the agent prompt to, like background knowledge that's always part of the sys prompt?
Oh, that's an early one.
Right.
Basically, you're
It's like a
saying, and
dictionary.
yeah, but they're also by atomic. These are not
Anatomic.
rules. Anatomic. Oh, sorry. I thought it was atomic, as in
No,
this,
anatomic.
if this, then that.
No, anatomical information is like this is the structure of the platform you find yourself within. And this is the, like, when I say to it, look up the chat history, you know, where does it go, right? But Codex has a file system layout. It stores its history in like history.jsonl or some file. And so the bots need to know that when I want to talk about the history, they shouldn't have to try and discover and guess every time because that increases the chance of variance between runs. They should be given a document, a short one, that's an anatomical document that explains where everything is in the system and how it relates. What's an agent? What's a chat history?
So what you want to do is have a list of. It could be heuristics. It could be rules. Maybe that difference is worth remembering. But a short file which the agent is prompted to consider when being asked for anything. If you're being asked for this, go there. Don't go anywhere
Yeah,
else.
like it's like self-awareness, a minimum amount of self-awareness. Now they try to give Codex self-awareness in terms of it's in a terminal and it has these tools. That is correct. But it's also part of a wider system. Like we need an addendum onto the Codex sys prompt that is like the agentic part where it's like you're part of a platform, my friend. You're part of a team. You're part of a workflow.
Well, how about I'll run a few experiments on this one, but how about we just stuff that as a file that the agent has access to, and we just at the creation of the agent, we say look at that for guidance on.
Oh, like we just point it to the docs. We're like, hey, if you want to know about the platform you're on or anything about the system you're running within, here's the documents.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah. I better go, buddy. It's getting time's getting on.
No worries, no worries. Right. So it's tomorrow, isn't it? Next one.
Yeah. So what am I doing then? I'm gonna get the warm booting agents, right? Like make them boot instantly, and then I'm gonna immediately, with some gusto, start upon workflows.
Yeah.
All right. So we're gonna have a ton of stuff to talk about then, because I'm like, fuck.
And I can already do workflows in Thread. And so, but I'll do a bit of exploring about what the limits are on that one. So I'm informed when you come back with the process thing. The second thing I'm working on is how do you give these hints and tips to an agent? Where I'm not going to worry about where to store it. It's got a folder structure. It can work out where to store it, but it needs to be able to retrieve that as a kind of first pass. It's like
like the manual. Here's the manual.
Yeah, look at that. It's like oh right, okay. Ask for this to happen, and there it is. Okay, right. All right, man. Heady stuff.
I'll stop recording. Yeah. And I will upload the thing.